So let me jump in on this conversation, because my views on it are a little more nuanced. Look, what's currently happening to Palestinian civilians. First of all, let me just get this out of the way. It's really important. I was disgusted to see anyone on the left justify or provide cover for a terrorist group like Hamas. I was horrified by what Hamas did. Absolutely, Israel should go after Hamas. I have no problem with that. Now, the way the Israeli government and the IDF is going after Hamas is basically ethnically cleansing Palestinians from the Gaza Strip. Okay, look, I'm Armenian. I see genocide when I can recognize genocide when I see one. It is so obvious to me. Like, I'll give you a few examples. If you wanted to root out Hamas, you send in special ops.
I agree.
Okay, that is how you do it. And I'm not saying that as some lefty. Jocko Willink said that. Someone who is incredibly experienced in the military. He's like, this is how you get Hamas. Bombing the crap out of residential buildings, okay, out of that Greek Orthodox church, out of the areas where all of these innocent Palestinian civilians are living in or fleeing from, is not the right way to go. And look, that in the long term will not keep Israel safe, because what that policy of just bombing the crap out of that area and wiping out entire families does is it breeds more extremism. Okay. First of all, I think it's wrong. I don't think those civilians deserve this. Okay. The majority of the civilians living in the Gaza Strip weren't even born at the time that Hamas was voted in. Okay. Most of them, half of them are under the age of 18.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So the point that I'm trying to make is there is a way of supporting Israel, which I believe we should do, right, without justifying what they're currently doing in the Gaza Strip. Right. We should provide them with the intel they need. We should provide them with the weapons they need, with the condition that they're going to carry out these operations, special ops, as opposed to bombing the crap out of the Gaza Strip, killing all of these innocent civilians from a remote location. I think that's wrong.
Anna, with all respect, you're sort of falling for the mainstream narrative that you talk about railing against. So we all saw the story about the hospital that was bombed by Israel. How could you do this? How could you kill innocent civilians? The New York Times basically is now retracting their statement. Yeah, it turns out it was the Islamic Jihad with a failed rocket. I can assure you of this.
Hold on.
Nobody
that is not definitive, number one.
Yeah, it's still not.
That is not definitive,
Even
number
the Wall
one.
Street Journal came out and said.
But that is one example.
Okay.
Even if I give you that argument, it is proven without any doubt that it was Hamas that did that. That is one incident in a situation where 1.1 million Palestinians are being told to evacuate their homes. As they're being evacuated to the part of the Gaza Strip where they're gonna be safe, that area gets bombed.
Yep.
Okay.
So let me ask you a very direct question. Do you think Israel wants to kill innocent civilians?
I do.
You think Israel genuinely wants to?
I do.
What evidence do you have of that?
The evidence is they are refusing to do special operations and instead are relying on bombing areas where they know civilians are at, and then they'll turn around and say, "Well, Hamas is using them as human shields."
So if someone was shooting at you, you don't have kids, right?
If an armed man grabbed a family member of yours, do you have kids?
No, I don't.
Oh, do you have? Okay, your mother. You talked about your mother. If an armed gunman grabbed your mother, had a gun to her head, okay, and he is confronted by the authorities, by law enforcement, and the law enforcement, they just decide, you know what? We're not going to negotiate. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to shoot the hell out of both of them. And then they come to you and say, well, your mother, sorry, was a human shield. Would you accept that argument?
That's not the question, though.
Would you accept that argument?
You're making up a random story that my mother is held captive.
Hamas using Palestinians as human shields is not a justification to indiscriminately bomb the hell out of that region, knowing full well that the majority of people who are going to end up dying are not Hamas militants who are underground in the tunnels. Okay? It's the innocent civilians who are going to lose their lives. And the flippant behavior that I see from the West in regard to all of those innocent people losing their lives disgusts me. Okay, seeing people having to vacate their homes, everything that they've known, being forced to leave the land that they have. That is exactly what happened to Armenians. That is exactly what happened during the genocide. And the fact that the United States is just willy-nilly providing cover for that behavior absolutely disgust me. Israel has a right to defend itself. How it defends itself is where we should have that conversation. Sending special ops in to get Hamas, hell yeah, go get them. But the idea that all of these innocent kids should lose their lives as a result of this, I don't believe it. I will never support it. And in the long run, that is going to make Israeli civilians less safe, not more safe. It breeds more extremism. And by the way, it's dragging us into a broader war. Okay, you have the Arab world like ready to go. And you have Israel under the leadership of Netanyahu acting incredibly belligerent, doing airstrikes in freaking Lebanon, okay, talking about going to war in Iran. We're going to bring in all of these Arab countries. You think the United States is going to stay out of that? Hell no. We're going to be dragged into more forever wars. But I just think it's so destructive, so stupid. We're not thinking critically and strategically about how to help our ally Israel while also preventing the reproduction of more extremism.
Yeah, the extremism is never going to go away.
It's not going to go.
That's the foundation of what Hamas is.
It's not going to go away.
In their founding doctrine,
let me tell you something.
Their entire doctrine is to eliminate every Jew that lives in Israel.
Let me explain.
Do you acknowledge the founding doctrine of what Hamas is? The annihilation of all Jews?
I hate Hamas.
Okay.
Let me be clear.
So the question is, how do we annihilate them?
Well, you can't find.
I need you guys to understand something.
Nobody wants to see innocent civilians killed. Nobody, including the IDF.
If a government wiped out my entire family, I have nothing left to live for. And I'm real angry, okay? That is a dangerous combination. And that is exactly what is being bred right now as we speak, as entire families are getting wiped out, civilian families in the Gaza Strip. I totally get that, the discourse in the United States has essentially dehumanized these people. But at the end of the day, they're innocent people in a terrible situation, and they don't deserve the absolute hell that they're dealing with right now, the death and destruction that they're dealing with right now. I want a peaceful two-state solution. This ain't the way to get it.
Yeah, we are in full alignment, full agreement that we want to see zero civilian deaths. Nobody wants that. And I can assure you, the IDF, the Mossad, nobody wants civilian deaths. But we're looking for solutions here. If I'm standing in front of a human shield and I'm throwing missiles, bombs, grenades your way, and I'm trying to kill you as a civilian and your family, what would you do? If I'm trying to kill you, and I'm standing in front of a civilian, I'm trying to kill you, Anna, what would you do? Hey, we can't kill civilians. We need a peaceful situation here. Or would you shoot back?
I apologize.
No. What would you do?
No, but you are making a hypothetical that doesn't exist right now. We're talking about IDF soldiers
that's literally
in the
what's
safety
going
of
on
their
right
remote
now.
location as they're dropping bombs. That is not what's happening right now.
No.
So we're not having a conversation about
what about
IDF
the 5,000 rockets that were fired?
Are you going to let me answer the question?
Let me answer. What about the 5,000 rockets that were fired on Israel that killed civilians?
Well,
so what do you do there?
This is
you
what
just
we do.
say, hey,
this
look,
is what we do.
Until we identify where this is coming
from, let me answer the question.
We can't kill any civilians. Nobody wants civilians killed, Anna.
Here's what we do. The United States taxpayer funds the Iron Dome that intercepts all of those rockets, okay? To pretend as though we're talking about two equal sides is ridiculous to me. It is an asymmetrical war. So I'm happy. I am so happy that the United States did that the United States helped fund the Iron Dome to help keep Israel safe. The point that I'm trying to make right now is that the current effort in basically bombing the crap out of the Gaza Strip, first of all, breaks a bunch of international laws pertaining to war. Okay, so there are war crimes taking place as we speak, and we're here in the United States pretending like we don't see it, even though every other country in the world sees it, even though the UN Security Council sees it. So aside from doing war crimes, we're also creating a future in which Israel isn't going to be safe. Do you get what I'm saying?
No, don't you think the people of Israel know that?
Then why?
They've never had safety there.
Can I say one thing too?
You don't think that in 2006 when they did the disengagement, they pulled out of Gaza, they weren't aware of this? No doubt. This is whack-a-mole on the highest proportion. But at some point, if Hamas is leading Gaza, that is the government that is running Gaza, and their founding principle is the annihilation of everybody in Israel, what choice do you have? The IDF does not want to.
Hamas.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Go after Hamas.
How